In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Welcome again to the interactive video of lecture 21. In this lecture, we are going to speak about the WH interrogative clauses. Now, first of all, let's explain what is meant by a WH interrogative clause. In English grammar, a WH clause is a subordinate clause that is introduced by one of the WH words like what, who, which, when, where, why, and how. So this means that it is a dependent clause, okay, which starts with one of these WH words. Now, the WH interrogative clauses occur in the whole range of functions available to the nominal data clauses. However, they may have some additional functions. So first of all, they function as subject, so they can be used as the subject of the clause. For example, when we say how the team will play depends on the coach. So as you see now, how the team will play is the WH interrogative clause, which functions here as a subject. Okay, so how the team will play is the subject, and it depends on the coach here. Okay, so number two, they may function as direct object. So for example, like when we say they failed to decipher what these symbols mean. So they failed to decipher what these symbols mean. Okay, so what these symbols mean is the WH interrogative clause, which functions here as a direct object. So it is the direct object of the sentence. They can function as a subject complement as well. So like when we say, for example, the question is who will run the institute in his absence. Okay, so who run the institute in his absence is the subject complement. The WH interrogative clause here functions as a subject complement. Okay, so as an appositive, like for example when we say the client's inquiry, who will be in charge in your absence needs to be answered. So now who will be in charge in your absence is the appositive. And let me remind you what is meant by an appositive. The appositive is a noun phrase or a clause that functions to describe the noun beside it. So who will be in charge in your absence is the clause that is used to describe what? To describe the client's inquiry. So that's why we consider it as an appositive to this clause. Adjectival complement. It may function also as an adjectival complement. So like when we say, I'm not sure which she prefers. So which she prefers here is the adjectival complement. So it functions here, the WH interrogative clause functions as an adjectival complement. So it is used to complement the meaning of the adjective sure. Prepositional complement, like they did not consult us on whose names should be put forward. Should be put forward. So you see, whose names should be put forward. So whose names should be put forward is the WH interrogative clause, which functions here as a complement of the preposition. Complement of the preposition. So that's why we call it a prepositional complement. So by now we finished our speech about the functions of the WH interrogative clauses. Now let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. Are there any similarities between WH interrogative clauses and WH questions? The answer for this question is definitely yes. So there are similarities between WH interrogative clauses and WH questions. These similarities are both semantic and grammatical. So we have some similarities on the semantic level and other similarities on the grammatical level. So on the semantic level, both of them, the WH interrogative clauses and the WH questions, both of them have a gap of unknown information, which is represented by the WH element. So for example, when I ask a question, for example, I say, how did you did it? So now here the unknown information is represented by the question word how. So here represents what? The unknown piece of information. Both of them contain the same item of unknown information. On the grammatical level, they are similar in the following respects. So they are similar to each other in the following respects. So first one, the WH element is placed first. So in WH questions as well as in WH interrogative clauses, the WH element is placed first. Number two, if the WH clause is prepositional complement, we have the same choices for the WH element in WH questions, which means that we have the choice to replace the preposition before the WH element or delay it to the end of the clause. So consider the following examples. Consider the following examples. So for example, I say, I asked them on what they based their predictions. I asked them on what they based their predictions. So you see now the preposition here is used before the WH element. It is used before the WH element. So I asked them on what they based their predictions. Now there is another possibility in which we can delay the preposition. We can propose the preposition to the end of the clause. So I say I asked them what they based the predictions on. So you see now the preposition here is delayed to the end of the clause. Okay, now we have some notes that we have to mention them about the WH interrogative clauses. So sometimes an infinitive WH clause with an obligational sense can be formed with all WH words except with Y. So like for example when we say you must explain to them how to operate the motor. You must explain to them how to operate the motor. So how to operate the motor. How to operate the motor. So you see, now we said that the infinitive WH clause has an obligational sense. It has what? An obligational sense. So the interpretation of this WH interrogative clause, which is infinitive, so we say you must explain to them how they should operate the motor. So the interpretation, how they should operate the motor. Okay. One more example. I never know who to speak to. So who to speak to. You see, who to speak to. This is also a WH interrogative infinitive clause. Okay, infinitive WH interrogative clause. How to speak, who to speak to, sorry, who to speak to. Okay, now the interpretation is that I never know who should I speak to. This is why we said that it is with an obligational sense. It is with an obligational sense. Okay, now let's go to note number 2. Although the WH subordinate clause usually does not have subject-operator inversion, such inversion may occur, particularly when the clause functions as a complement and the main verb is a form of the verb be. So it could be is, was, were, on, whatsoever, or when it functions as a positive. So we have here two possibilities. Now, to have a subject operator inversion when the WH interrogative clause is a complement. Okay, and here it is also conditioned by what? By having a main verb which is a form of the verb be, and then the second one when it functions as an appositive. When it functions as an appositive. Okay. So like when we say, for example, the problem is who can we get to replace her. Okay. The problem is who can we get to replace her. So look here. Now let's look at the clause. Now the clause here is what? Is a complement. Who can we get to replace her? It is what? A subject complement. Okay, so condition 1 is what? Is achieved. So yeah, condition 2. Now let's look at the main verb of the clause, which is. So the main verb is a form of verb be. So this time we can have a subject operator inversion. That's why we say the problem is who can we get to replace her. Okay, so one may ask, can we do without the subject operator inversion? Yes, of course we can do without the subject operator inversion. So we can say the problem is who we can get to replace her. So here we have two possibilities. You have two possibilities, either to do with the subject operator inversion or you do without it. Okay. And number 2, we said that when it is an appositive, when it functions as an appositive. So like when we say your inquiry your inquiry why he did it at all has not been answered. Okay. So you see now, your inquiry why he did it at all has not been answered. So if you look at this one, do we have a subject operator inversion? No, we don't have, but we have the possibility to do a subject operator inversion. So now storm up your minds. Now how can we do the subject operator inversion here? So why he did it at all. So we say, okay, so we should say why did he do it at all? Okay, so why did he do it at all? Note number 3, prepositions are optionally omitted before WH clauses in certain circumstances. So in certain circumstances, we can delete the prepositions, or we can keep them, of course, before the WH interrogative clauses. So like when we say we solved the problem of who was at fault. So you see in this example, the preposition of is optionally deleted. You can delete it or you can keep it. So we solve the problem who was at fault, or we solve the problem of who was at fault. Okay, that's it for today, and thank you for listening.